Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday and enjoying their afternoon. I know I am. It's been kind of I'm feeling a little bit better today. Guess I better check to make sure my audio is working. Yeah, it's working, but I still got that weird noise in the background. I'm not sure where it's coming from. If I turn my gain all the way down, I still hear that noise. Oh well, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Not in the mood to I haven't been able to figure out what's causing it. There's no sound, anything running in here. So, but like I said yesterday, figured I was going to do a podcast. I wasn't sure, especially after yesterday's podcast. We kind of had some fun. We got onto some different topics, which I was enjoying. So, and I kind of want to keep it in the different topic zone today because there's some things I do want to talk about. So that's kind of why it's just the ramblings of a chaotic mind. Which I know is quite early for me to be on, obviously, because nobody's tuning in. So, but I've been known to do a Saturday podcast in the afternoons, a few drinks, just let the topics go where they go. We've had some good ones. Yesterday I started. We got into several conversations. And we got into some interesting ones too that that I like. But we don't really. You never hear me talk about. We don't get that. We don't go down the rabbit holes too much when it comes to stuff like Hunter brought up with the Antarctica and stuff like that. Admiral Byrd's story. Now we don't go into the so-called conspiracy theories and things, which they're fun from time to time, you know. And conspiracy theories is nothing but us questioning things. It's like we had topics on the ocean yesterday. And it was kind of fun to go down those kind of rabbit holes from time to time. 'Cause I haven't been down done any podcast where we went down rabbit holes in a very long time. And I think today we might go down a few rabbit holes. Rabbit holes of the mind, that is. We're always bombarded with stuff that we are so torn about. We're so caught up in what's going on on Twitter and social media. What's trending? What's being pushed in our face? That's essentially what's trending is what's being pushed to you. And most people on Twitter, they follow a certain set of people. It's an echo chamber. Where others, like me, it's just a variety, a hodgepodge of people. People I find their conversations and tweets interesting. There's plenty of eye candy. I need to go through and clean out some of the eye candy. It's getting a little bit too much. Where it's starting to interfere with my feed. But these social media platforms are a distraction. They have their purpose. Like I said, everything's a tool. But we're not honing the most important tool, and that is our minds. We're now losing the ability to have conversations on topics that might become argumentative. People have gotten fearful of having being able to talk about these things. Some people just don't care. They'll just flat out speak their mind. They have no filter. I mean, I have somewhat of a filter. But, we have to have conversation. We have to have dialogue. There's things I want to talk about. And I've been hitting that within the last couple podcasts. Actually, I've been talking a lot about frequency and vibration. Because it is important to understand that. And I can tie it into exactly what I said, how we set up our Twitters, how we follow people, how we take in an echo chamber, because it becomes an echo chamber. But we attract. I think Twitter is the best way to use this analogy, or any social media platform, because that's how we tend to do. We tend to stick to those that have the same mindset as us, the same views, the same opinions. We don't allow other people to come in and have different opinions and views. We'll get triggered by we'll call them a troll that comes in and makes a comment that's opposite of the opinion. Well, shouldn't get triggered by it. They have a right to their opinion. And if anything, it should make you question, well, why has he got this opinion? Why does he see it differently than I do? Like I said, I've always said don't feed the trolls, but the trolls serve a purpose. As much as I hate to say that, they do. Because there's no such thing as perfect balance. Actually, perfect balance equals stagnation. The human nature needs opposition. It needs something to push it, to question. That's why we set goals. We don't always achieve our goals. We reach stumbling blocks. We learn from them, which drives us to work harder to achieve that same goal or set another one. It's because of the failures that we make. We learn from them. Sometimes it takes something to trigger us, to push us in a direction of enlightenment. Because as we allow ourselves to be triggered and pushed in a direction, we might not have had no plans of ever going a certain direction or questioning something. So we need that opposition from time to time to continue growth in our daily lives. That's what makes echo chambers so dangerous. It's what makes having one state of becomes like a hive mind. You only follow these one set of people that have the same mindset of you, same opinions, same views, same philosophies. So there's nothing there to push that conversation to the next level, to make you question something. Instead, in this day and age, we'll get triggered by somebody that tries to do it, and we call them a troll. Most of them are trolls, but we don't look at it on the opposite and positive effect. That troll is probably doing something. His intent's probably negative, but he's actually doing something positive by making people question, expanding the dialogue in a different perspective. We live in a world that is nothing but frequency and vibration. Our minds, our brains put out electricity. We put out static electricity. We have an energy field around us. I mean, all this shit is scientifically proven. I made the comment. The old adages. We are what we eat. We are what we take in, what we say. We draw that type of people to us. I think it's funny that people overlook. We talk about languages. We speak English. Well, every language has a numeric value. That numeric value represents the frequency and vibration of that letter. Musical notes. They have a harmonicized vibration. That vibration is the frequency. When you hit a piano key, it's a percussion instrument. Most people don't know that. But your piano is actually a percussion instrument. Triggers a little hammer that hits a note. That creates that vibration, that sound that we recognize. Anybody that's studied music, that's played instruments, you recognize that as an A or an F sharp, a G, a B flat. But our alphabet, and look, classic example, old school phones. ABC is 1. Since our alphabet is not like the primitive alphabets where they were like the Hebrew or the Greek, where they were only so many letters, not like we have. They were all represented by a number, which was the frequency and vibration of that letter. So when we start forming and putting letters together, and this is where I'm telling you guys that love to quote numerology and you get it wrong every time. That's the whole truth and concept of numerology. It's getting the frequency and the vibration. So when you create a word or when you spell a word, you then vocalize and say and project, so therefore you are doing spell work. You're bringing something into manifestation. Because words have meaning. We've created meaning for them. Somebody says the sky's blue. I say it's purple. Why is it blue? Why do we call the color blue? Well, because somebody decided that blue was going to be blue. That this color will represent blue. So they put some letters together and they created blue. I know, bad analogy, right? But that's the thing. That's why certain people just come into our lives out of nowhere. and have an impact on our lives, then they just fade away. Over time, we might have even forgotten who that person was. We just know somebody came in at a point in time that had a major impact on our life, that led us to a changing event in our life. It happens all the time. We have different titles and labels and what we call it. One of something my grandfather taught me as a kid, just sit back, listen. Everything has a message. That homeless guy is just passing. He might say something that you just happen to hear. He wasn't talking to you, but it was something that you needed to hear at that time. Christianity believes that the angels will give you a message. There's a message in everything, including the things we don't want to hear. The problem is, in this today and age, we are taught not to. Those things are bad. They trigger you. They're offensive. They offended you. So we start creating these cancel cultures. We got to censor them. And that's the whole idea behind censorship, is controlling the information, controlling the frequency and vibrations. And things that they don't want you to know, that they're using against you every day. This day and age, there should be no need of electrical lines and power grids. Tesla proved that. Well, you've kind of seen what happened there. Oh no, we can't make our money. That's all frequency and vibration. He proved that frequency and vibration is no different than what we're doing with Wi-Fi. Tapping into a frequency. No different than our ham radios and our CB. We tap into a frequency that transmits openly through the air. Our Bluetooth devices are nothing but ran off frequency and vibration. It picks up on the frequency that vibrates the speaker. That allows sound to come through. Now, but we got to go into other things. Understanding this allows you to control it, manipulate it, and use it. Well, not understanding, having knowledge of how to do it allows you to do these things. Then that's when we start tapping into the recesses and accesses of our mind that we don't use. Which, sorry guys, we only use like 5% of our brain. Super geniuses use like 7% to 10%. We haven't grasped our minds because we're taught not to. We are literally programmed and taught not to use our minds. We are taught and programmed not to question things and have conversations that could bring truths about or unravel and bring out mysteries that awaken people to them. Like I stated yesterday, everybody fears one thing, and that is the unknown. But the unknown is what we should be striving to understand, to overcome. We're to overcome our fears. Because if we have fear is a weakness. It can be used against us. Fear can be a weapon. But it can also be something that promotes growth, spiritual growth. When you start challenging that fear, learning to overcome it, learning to question, why does this bother me? We control our minds, but instead we give other people control of them. We allow them to manipulate our frequencies and vibrations. Somebody's having a bad day at work. Next thing you know, other people are starting to have a bad day. That energy is like a ripple. Well, eventually that ripple starts expanding. and it triggers somebody else. They end up starting having a bad day because they're around it. And that's why I've always said it's a two-edged sword. You got to be careful who you let into your circles, who you let in, especially for those that don't know, don't understand these things. I keep people around me that kind of keep an eye on me for when I tip one way or the other too far. And I've gotten good over the years to question, okay, why am I all, what, why am I about this? Why it's important to take time out to reflect, meditate, whatever you want to call it, on what's transpired throughout the week. And you'll start finding these little things. Oh, okay. And sometimes it's because what we've subliminally seen scrolling through our feeds. I mean, imagery, oh my God, we're not even going to go open that door. But memes are powerful. Imagery is very powerful. They're symbols, symbology. They trigger. We see pictures and symbols that in a different way than what we actually see with. And it goes right straight to the mind, into the subconscious. Figured it wasn't going to take long for somebody to stop listening. That's the problem. We can't have conversations like this because, well, this is sons and daughters of liberty. You're talking esoteric, hocus pocus, scary mumbo. No, I'm talking about real, truthful, scientifically proven facts. I'm talking about history, because this has been taught throughout history. Now we categorize this stuff as so much. I mean, we call, it's Freemasonry, it's this, it's that. We there we go. We're manifesting a new label to label something, to subjugate it, divide it from our safety. That's what we've been told is right, wrong, good, evil. It's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of intent. An evil person can do good and great deeds. They have throughout history. We're all capable of doing either or. It's just a matter of that one right thing's triggering us to set us off in one of those directions. Not clearly thinking and understanding our true intent, allowing chaos to just control and dictate the moment. We've all done it. We've all flew off the handle, said something that we later regret. I still do it from time to time. And sometimes I just intentionally do it to other people. Push their buttons to trigger them. For their benefit. But we have to have conversations like this. We got to be able to talk about on any subject matter. It can't always be about politics, about the governing bodies. But this does tie into it because this is the very weapons that they use to control us. This is the very weapons that big corporations use to push their advertisements, their media slogans, their symbols, their frequencies, the vibrations and energies at us that draw us in because we don't see it. Because you're not taught to see it. You don't realize what you're seeing. Why? Because you don't have that knowledge. Because that knowledge, you were told, is taboo. It is evil. It is whatever label we want to call it to keep you from understanding the truth. The truth and a lie is just a matter of perspective. What I might view as truth, you might view as deception and lie. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe you're just not ready to hear it yet. You're not at that developmental state in your spirituality to do that. But at that time, you needed to hear it. Because it plants that seed, that plants that frequency and vibration that allows you to, when you're at that point, you'll actually recall that. And you'll understand it. No, we don't got everything. We don't have all the answers and knowledge to everything. No, we're still learning and growing. Fuck, I'm going on 40. I'll be 45 next week, and I'm still learning and growing. Still finding out, hey, some of the stuff I was taught was wrong. Right. Some of my perspectives have changed. Some of my views have changed. My values haven't much changed. That's my core. That's my center. That's my base and foundation. But they do change as you learn, as you grow, as you see things and experience things in the world. But yet, if we're not experiencing everything, then we're putting ourselves in these little echo chamber boxes. We're only having that come in, and therefore it's stagnating our growth. It's stagnating our learning. It's stagnating our ability to question things. And it does. It becomes individual hive minds. We can't see outside the box. We've literally created our very own prison. But yet, then we'll blame others for that. Just like addictions. Addictions are self-created. They can become an excuse, a crutch. We blame the addiction. We don't blame the choice. Because the fact is, you made that choice to try whatever or use whatever you're addicted to. You had made that choice. Knowing, most of us know, certain things are very addictive. That if we do that, we might get addicted to it. Some people actually do have addictive personalities. To where their mind don't register the consequences, the choice. But 90% of people do not suffer that, and therefore it becomes an excuse, something to blame. When you start doing that, you start creating false illusions. But you start drawing in more of that to you. No, we are what we consume. If we only consume one type of thing, then that's all we're going to be surrounded with. That's all our mind's going to see. And anything that comes in conflict with, it triggers us. Oh, it has offended me. We push it away. Or we lash out. Instead of learning from what's taking place. Instead of setting back, okay, why did this bother me? Why did this trigger me? Instead of questioning ourselves. Well, I've been pretty good. It's been a while since somebody's actually managed to trigger me. It still happens. This will happen. It happens every through my whole lifetime. Because it's what's prompting growth. It's what's prompting me to question things, learn. But yet we got people out there trying to strip that from us. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it explains a lot to what we're seeing transpire and unfold in the world today. That's why it's so important that we teach our kids to question everything, be open-minded. But that applies to ourselves too. We have to do it as well. It has to be an everyday thing of our lives. And eventually it becomes subconsciously, it happens. That's why I like doing videos like this, talking about these things. Because I might not go in full depth and full detail of everything, but just by making you aware of something, when you come across it, a trigger. Now, there's some things where I do think we need to go in depth on. That's why I said we'll save imagery and symbology and stuff like that for a whole different podcast, because when you open that door is huge. But yet, we deal with it every day. When we write something down on a piece of paper, a sentence, we're giving that meaning, we're giving that life, we're giving that manifestation. We're creating something out of our words. Our words have power. Our words have meaning. At the same token, they don't. Because it comes back to you as an individual, knowing that you have the choice to give them those words power and meaning. See how much we control? We control so much just from our minds. We have so much power, but we give it away to everybody else. Could you imagine bringing that type of a like mind together? Could you imagine the leaps and bounds we would make as a society, as a human race, if we all were on the same mind length like that? But they don't want that. The powers that be never want that. They don't want free thinkers. They created several lovely terms throughout the century, and we keep expanding to those labels, changing them. They'll change it. It's a label to something else that still means the same thing. We just get changed the name. All right, we burnt that lame out with that last generation. We need something new for the next generation. And they keep expanding on it, adding on to it. Before you know it, you got half the population of the world believing that to be true. When in fact, it's an illusion, it's a deception, it's a lie. Mingled in with half-truths. You know? It's like, I think I was talking to Rob after a podcast yesterday. He called me. kind of filling in what's been going on. It's like, wow. He's like, I don't know. I kind of thought something's funny, but I didn't see it. I'm like, no, I didn't either. I mean, I'm pretty good at catching the spammers, the scammers, and con artists. I've built web platforms, been admin of some huge platforms. I mean, platforms that were just as big as Facebook at the time when they were up and running, before they got pushed out. And I'm good at reading people. Yeah, pride goes before the fall, that's for damn sure. Ego got me on that one. He's like, hey, you're taking it pretty well. Yeah. I mean, what can you do? I got. Simple as that. I'm not going to be mad about it. In fact, I just look at the plus sides of things. Right? I've got about. I'm going to lose more than I gain, so. And I gain knowledge and wisdom. Because I promise you that won't happen again. And I can't say that. Because I don't care how good you are, how good you think you are at something. It's always somebody better. And there's always somebody right around the corner that's bigger and better than you are. It's just a matter of getting to that person. And you get knocked on your ass to find out. It's like, oh, okay. That brings the ego down a bit. But it also strives. You strive to make sure that never happens again. You learn from that. Until it happens again, and then you start realizing, okay, it's like, oh, look, I haven't played chess in years, but I love playing chess. And I've played chess with some grandmasters. I've never understood why they like playing me. Because, I never put myself on that pedestal that they're on. I mean, these guys are amazing. But yeah, I am technically at that level. I just get bored too easy. I like playing around. I like doing, like, my favorite one. I'd take like 3 different opens, combine them together, just play around, see what happens. I had this one guy. Man, it pissed me off. I could never beat this guy. But I could beat everybody else that would beat him. And that's what he said. Well, that's why I love playing you. He goes, you make me think. You don't play like everybody else plays. You play different. You have a different perspective. You make me think outside the box. You make me question every move that you make and every move that I've already made ahead with each of your moves. And he's like, man, I see what you've done to a couple of people on a chessboard. Called this friend of ours, we called him Mafia. He was good at chess. And this one day, he just kept bugging me. I didn't want to play. I wasn't in the mood. Well, needless to say, it only took 20 minutes. 20 minutes we played 4 games. He literally swiped all the pieces off the chessboard on the floor and walked away and said he'd never play me again. And I'm like, I told you I didn't want to play. And what happened was I did play. I mean, I checkmated him with the pawn twice in 2 games, back to back. I mean, I humiliated him on the chessboard. Everybody was watching. I was like, oh. I'm like, dude, everybody here knows I can play. I just play around. I get bored with all these traditional things that they say that you have to open this way. You got to think this way. No, I don't have to think that way. In fact, the chances of me beating you are greater on me thinking outside the box and making it so unpredictable you cannot predict your moves. But you let these super genius mathematicians tell you there's only so many moves and combinations that can be played, which is technically true. Chess is a wonderful game for the mind. It's an ancient game. You look at the people you allow in, how they make you move, how they make you feel. It's like being on a chessboard. How we make them feel, how we make them move, how we make them think and question things. You know, that's the things that needs to be articulated. It's just not about thinking. Everybody, Trump was around, and everybody said, "Oh, he's playing some 3D chess, 4D chess." Which is having multiple chessboards, playing all at the same time. Multiple perspectives, seeing each move before they unfold, calculating, contemplating, strategizing the next, to your 30th or 40th move ahead. And that's what they did. That's what they've been doing forever. Trying to see how they can get the next generation. Trick them with the same stuff. We just change the name. These guys, they put some of these plans in motion 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago. We're still seeing tactics that are centuries old being used today. We just changed the names. We changed the labels. So therefore, it ain't the same thing. It's an illusion. No, what they call it is the illusion. It's still the same thing as it was a century ago. We just give it a different name each generation. Which is funny. Because that was one of my my pet peeves about the Bible. I had an old English King James Version Bible. Still have it. But it's like every year, the new King James Version would come out, where it was updated to modern time, modern language. I always question that. Well, there's something wrong with that, because as we start doing that, it no longer says what it originally said. And, that led to further questioning, further debating, further philosophical conversations with priests, rabbis, and whatnot. I enjoy talking to people like that. I enjoy having those philosophical conversations. Because, well, it was transferred. Most of the King James Version, Old English Version, is translated from the Greek. Well, the Greeks got it from what? Some of it was Coptic, which is now a dead language. Some of it was Hebrew, Egyptian. I see you. Welcome, Bray. I know you're not feeling well. But how much of the original translations have we lost by changing the words and meaning, changing it to a different language? So when you start questioning those things, people get offended. even though you're just wanting to have a philosophical debate or a philosophical intellectual conversation. I want to know why. How much has been lost in translation throughout the centuries? Like I said, I was open well beyond my years. I was questioning things that scholars question, that not normal everyday people question. I mean, I was questioning my pastor at the time about these things. And a few times I had him, it's like, well, that's a very good question, but, retort back to you, it's our faith. That's what we believe. That's our faith. And once it gets to that point, it better stop while you're ahead, because it's their faith. Their faith is what those words, because, my thing was, and I showed him, I took the newest King James revised version that was more modern to the old King James, and it showed him a few verses that you could interpret it a different way. It didn't make sense as to what it said in the original King James version. That's all right, Bree. I've been on topics that most people probably don't want to hear. I've had a few people come in and out. You know me, I'm just having fun. Trying to make people think. Because, they got to. This day and age, you've got to think and question. I love how my phone's just blowing up all of a sudden. No sooner I started this podcast, my phone was quiet most of the morning. But that's the things we have to do. Take nothing at face value, question everything. Take nothing I say as fact, as correct. Question everything I say. Because I can't tell you if I'm right, if I'm wrong. Truthfully, it's just a matter of perspective anyway. Everybody's been brought up differently. Everybody's walked a different path in life. Their experience shaped the things they experience shape who they are at that moment. Trust me, would never want anybody to walk not even a second in my shoes. I literally came from the school of hard knocks. I learned the hard way. So like I was in my 30s. Well, trust me, I got broke of that habit. You get tired of learning things the hard way after a while. Especially when you start losing things. But I've never allowed myself to be caught in an echo chamber, inside a box. In fact, I never was, even as growing up. I would actually jump circles from circle to circle of friends. 6 months to a year, and I move on to the next group. Eventually I do a figure eight and come back around. But I had friends of all walks of life, all different experiences, beliefs. Yes, I'm talking about the 90s. Sexual preferences as included. We didn't view those things like that. We didn't make big deals of them like we do today. Yeah, it was there. Maybe it might not have been as much in our face as it is today. But it was there. If you looked, You saw it. You were open enough to look. You've seen it. Even back then when it was still kind of hidden in the closet, so to speak. You saw it. It was there. If you truly were open. But if you didn't question things, you didn't go out and experience things, and allow yourself to be open to see these things, then you started building those boxes at an early age. Now, those boxes are being formed and those prisons are being made around our children in the education system. They're being bombarded with these frequencies, vibrations, these symbology and imagery, because at that stage they are at the weakest. Their minds are at the most susceptible to these forms of manipulation, of attacks. That's what they are. That's why it's so important that we protect our children from these things. It's so important that we break outside of our boxes, our prisons. We are approaching that hour mark, and I'm not going to go much past an hour. So, like I said, conversations like this is meant for conversation. It's meant to have people talk, interact, and there's no interaction besides brain. So this is ideally what I would consider something that's not meant to be heard now. This will be something somebody will stumble upon. And that's how I view all my podcasts. It's cool when we have participation. It's cool when we have people on. It's cool and all that, but I don't do it for that. I do it for why? For one, why is it in my head? Why do I want to talk about it? See, I'm questioning things. Why did I want to talk about this subject today? Because I was triggered yesterday when I was mentioning it. Thought it was important and need to talk about. So I'm talking about it. And somebody out there meant to hear it. They'll stumble across this video. Or somebody will share it. I've already did what I was supposed to do. I already listened to that frequency and vibration and followed it. Now it'll ripple out as it's supposed to. But yet, there's the deception and illusion of everything. We've been told that we got to have 20, 30, 10,000 people watching our live stream as we stream. Lord, that's too much. I can't have an interaction with the chat. My chat would be falling a mile a minute. I miss things. But yet we're told we got to have all these views, all these likes. We got to have all these followers who have an impact on our lives. Because we're allowing them in. We're allowing their frequency and vibration in the stuff that they post. Even granted, most of it is an echo chamber. But when we start reading them, we start seeing the threads grow. We start reading the comments and we see the trolls' comments, and then we get triggered, and then it ruins our day for the rest of the day. Because why? We let somebody trigger us. Instead of, okay, why does this bother me? Why did I get triggered? Asking why. Questioning. Question everything. Stop. Listen. There's a message in everything. Learn to stop and listen to the frequencies and vibrations that are around you. There is always a message there, if you're willing to listen. Person walking by says something, and he's several feet away. He's talking to himself, but it triggered something. That was meant for you. But if you become so numb and blind to this world and so caught in your echo chambers and your own self-made prisons, you don't hear that message. Something very important you missed. Something that could have been life-changing you missed. Something that could have prevented you from getting triggered later on, you missed. And that's exactly what they do. They set these things in motion so you become numb to them, so you miss it. So you're so caught up that you're not listening to everything else outside of it. I almost titled this Welcome to My Mind, but yes, welcome to my mind. That's how my mind works. My mind works in abstract chaos. Never here in this moment, always elsewhere in the moment to be, in the moment that what it's already been. I'm thinking of 1,000 things at once. And the worst question you can ever ask me, what are you thinking? Because I am thinking about so many things. My mind doesn't stop, not even when I'm asleep. Truthfully, I'm probably thinking of podcasts I'm going to do next year. Don't even realize I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about things that I've got coming up in the next few weeks. Actually, I'm trying not to think about those things because it's the things I'm just not looking forward to. So, but they're there. In the end, it's your perspective. It's your opinion. And your opinions matter. Don't let anybody else tell you they don't. I might not agree with your opinion, but it matters because maybe there's something in your opinion that I was meant to hear. If I shut you out, I won't hear it. I won't have that life-changing moment or that light bulb that goes off. Hey, I got something wrong. Everybody's opinion matters. Even that damn troll. I hope you guys enjoy your Saturday. I know I got to check on my chili here in a little bit. I thought today was a good day for some chili with some sirloin steak. Nicely quartered, tossed in there. Onions, tomatoes. And it's just now starting to get to the point where all the seasoning and flavors are starting to come out. Start to smell them. Which is making me hungry. And knowing that it's probably still got about 2 more hours to cook. But I don't got nothing else better to do on this cloudy, overcast, chilly day. I don't know. I might go live later. Depends. I don't know. Do something that you guys want to hear, because obviously you guys don't want to hear topics like this. Trust me, that's part of it, because we don't want to hear topics like this, because they make us question things, and sometimes we get truth and reality, and it hurts. Because we got something wrong. I didn't think about that. It's a numbing experience. I love it. It's the worst feeling in the world, but the greatest feeling at the same time. Because you're freeing yourself. But tune in. You never know when I'll go live. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. Crack open the Jaeger. And just chill. Put some music on and just space out. Listen to the environment around me. You guys have a good day.